betrayal, pregnancy, and a $100,000 ring.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like something ripped straight from a tabloid, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
But this is the story we're diving into today. It centers on two people who were, well, for a while anyway, basically social media royalty. Landon Nickerson and Wizard Liz.
Right, and you saw their photos online. Their whole presence
Yeah,
looked like something out of a magazine, you know?
totally. And the relationship, it was presented as, like, really authentic, loving, kind of rare in that whole online world.
Yeah, people really bought into it. Fans adored them.
And then came the pregnancy announcement, which seemed like, okay, this is it, the final piece, you know, perfect love story playing out for everyone.
But yeah, as the sources we looked at show, that perfect picture, it was about to shatter pretty dramatically.
The foundation wasn't nearly as strong as it looked.
Not at all. And the timing of the collapse, incredibly vulnerable.
So our mission here for this deep dive is really to unpack the details from the material we have. What exactly happened? How did it all come out? And this really unexpected turn it took to see what we can understand from it all.
Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so the timeline. The betrayal itself happened when Liz was 4 months pregnant.
Yeah, just pause on that for a second. 4 months pregnant. She's navigating all those huge physical, emotional changes, bringing a life into the world.
And right then, in that really vulnerable space, dealing with everything pregnancy throws at you,
Yeah.
Landon was reportedly cheating.
And not just like drifting away emotionally. The sources point to him using Snapchat, you know, a platform kind of made for secrecy,
Right.
to message another woman behind Liz's back.
The method itself feels significant, doesn't it?
Definitely. Using Snapchat, disappearing messages. The idea is like, no evidence, no trail.
Uh-huh.
It feels like the kind of move that basically says, I know this is wrong, but I'm doing it anyway. There's a calculation there.
Exactly. While she's literally creating life, her body's changing, her heart's expanding, her whole life is transforming, that's when he reportedly chose,
Well,
not loyalty.
it just adds such a layer of, I don't know, cruelty to the betrayal.
So Liz finds out,
Yeah.
and her reaction,
Yeah.
it wasn't quiet.
No, not at all. She didn't, like, whisper about it or post vague cryptic quotes, you know?
Nope. She went straight to Instagram,
Ah.
told the world her truth, revealed everything.
Yeah, the sources describe it as, like, no filters, no PR polish, just the raw pain of being betrayed and the cold fact that Landon had cheated while she was pregnant.
It was incredibly direct,
Uh-huh.
public, unfiltered.
Total confrontation with what was happening.
Okay, but then, here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because then came this twist that I don't think anyone saw coming.
Right.
It involves that $100,000 engagement ring Landon gave her.
The ring. Liz announced she was selling it.
Okay?
But the reason she gave, according to the material, that's the key part. It wasn't just to, you know, make a scene or get revenge.
Yep.
No, it was to donate the money to single mothers.
Single mothers. Wow, that's very specific.
Yeah, specifically aiming it towards women who, maybe like her now, are facing pregnancy and motherhood without the support they thought they had.
Wow. Okay, so she took this symbol of, well, what turned out to be lies
Yeah.
and turned it into a tool for empowerment.
Exactly. The source material really lands on that point. That's not drama, that's power.
And the public reaction must have been immediate.
Oh, yeah. The internet just exploded. People couldn't quite believe what they were hearing, both the cheating and her response with the ring.
Though a real mix of reactions, I imagine.
Absolutely, support for Liz just flooded in, like from all over. People calling her brave, strong, inspirational. But the reaction to Landon, pure outrage. I mean, fans who loved him were suddenly demanding answers.
Right.
People started asking, you know, was this the only time, or was his whole online thing just a performance?
And that questioning led people to start, like, digging back through his old stuff, right?
Yeah, totally. Old videos started popping up again. Clips of him talking about love, commitment. They suddenly felt really hollow.
Yeah, I bet.
Comments he had made about being supportive just seemed haunting now, looking back through this new lens. Everything people admired was being rewatched, but with suspicion.
So the questions became, like, had he been lying the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
How long was this double life actually going on?
Big questions.
And amidst all this,
Yeah.
this firestorm online, Landon's response.
Well, according to the material we looked at, still nothing. No apology, no explanation, no public accountability.
Just silence.
Just silence. And that silence, the sources argue, was deafening. The kind of silence that speaks louder than any post ever could.
Wow.
It felt, to many, like a confirmation. Like a confession without actually saying anything.
But Liz, She wasn't being silent. She wasn't hiding.
No, quite the opposite. The narrative became about her standing taller, you know. Her story started getting shared everywhere, not just because it was scandalous, but because of her perceived strength and how she handled it. She took this awful betrayal and seemed to turn it into something bigger, louder, something that might actually help other people.
So the framing, at least in the material we've seen, shifts from her being a victim to being a survivor, or even more like a fighter.
Exactly. Someone actively trying to turn pain into purpose.
Circle back to the ring for a second.
Yeah, that ring, that $100,000 symbol. It stops being just about the betrayal, about the broken engagement.
Right.
It's becoming something tangible, potentially, food, shelter, real hope for mothers who desperately need it.
It's presented as this really powerful way to, take back your own story.
Definitely. It's a striking move.
But the material also points out there's still these lingering questions, right? Things we don't know.
Oh, yeah. Lots of questions. Like, did Landon actually think he wouldn't get caught? Did he really believe Liz, being so public, would just stay silent forever?
What did he think would happen when it all came out?
Exactly. And, who was the other woman? Did she know she was messaging someone whose fiance was pregnant with his child? We don't have those answers from this material.
And then there's the part the sources touch on that's maybe the most painful. The stuff we can't see.
Yeah. The private moments, the quiet stuff behind the screen. The tears Liz must have cried alone. Those late nights feeling the baby move and wondering how someone she trusted could do this at this time.
That kind of hurt. It doesn't just disappear. It changes you.
Profoundly. And the material acknowledges there are different ways to look at the whole situation.
Okay.
Well, some might say, relationships are complicated, things are messy. Fair enough. But others, as the material points out, see it as pretty straightforward, not complicated at all.
How so?
Their view is basically, a man chose lies over loyalty. He chose disappearing messages over, open, honest love. And doing that, he didn't just wreck a relationship.
He wrecked trust, safety, the whole foundation of a potential family.
Exactly, that's the argument. And through it all, the sources seem pretty clear on Liz's direction now.
Which is?
She isn't waiting around. She's not looking back. She's building something new without him. And there's this final thought in the material about authenticity, especially online. You can fake the perfect photo, right? You can fake the laughs, the captions, even fake the love for the gram.
Sure.
But you can't fake loyalty. And when you break someone who was genuinely real with you, often there's just no coming back from that.
Yeah.
The material puts it bluntly. Landon didn't just lose Liz for now, he lost her forever.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening?
Well, this whole situation, based on the sources, it really gives us insight into that gap between public image and private actions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It underscores the sheer impact of betrayal, especially when someone's already in a vulnerable state like pregnancy. And it shows these unexpected ways people might react to public scandal, how they can try to reclaim their story, maybe even turn a negative into a positive.
It's a look at how trust, especially trust performed publicly, can just shatter.
Yeah.
And what the pieces tell us afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. What's revealed when it all falls apart.
Okay, so based on everything we've unpacked from this material, here's something for you to think about. In this very public breakup, what does Landon's continued silence actually communicate? And on the flip side, what does Liz choosing to turn that broken engagement ring into help for others really signify about finding power, finding purpose after betrayal?
Lots to think about there. Thanks for joining us as we explored this material.
Yeah, we hope this deep dive gave you some valuable perspective on this situation and maybe sparked a few more thoughts. Until next time, keep learning and keep questioning.